because these are some of the things these young athletes need. I don't care what sport you play, they need this mental toughness. They need to understand it's okay to feel a certain way, but just don't give up. Like, I mean, because if you don't give up on this and this is the hardest part of your life, trust your future is bright as heck. You just don't know it yet.
Oh man, I tell people all the time, I'm like, sports is this phenomenal metaphor for life. This is the Mental Mettle Podcast, where we explore how to forge mental toughness and resilience in every aspect of life. Welcome, I'm your host, Coach Matt Thomann. I'm an ICF certified professional coach with a background as a teacher, basketball coach, and athletic director. But my journey took a dramatic turn in 2020 when I survived both cancer and a stroke. Those experiences shaped my mission to help others grow stronger in every facet of life. Today, I work with athletes, coaches, educators, and anyone who believes that positive mental health is both achievable and a personal responsibility. This podcast is dedicated to helping listeners develop a positive version of toughness, one rooted in resilience, focus, and growth. Whether you're looking to excel on the field, in the classroom, or in life, this is your space to learn, grow, and take action. Join me on this journey, and together, let's forge your mettle. Sports have changed. They just have. I mean, in the last 10, 20, 30 years, the difference in the time, the money, and just the recognition and everything we do and everything we think about sports have just changed, especially when we're talking about down at the youth level. I mean, I've talked about on this podcast before about, and I'm getting older. I'm aware of that, but my first Little League practice, I'm pretty sure I wore a pair of old sneakers and a pair of jeans, and we shared a bat. And now, when these kids, they show up for their 8-9U practice, and they've got all the gear. They've got the double bats, and I don't know why they need two bats, but it's different. And I'm not going to jump on here and complain about stuff, because there's good and there's bad about the differences in sports now. Like the media coverage all the way down to high school is just crazy. And then when you get into college, I mean, everybody loves to talk now about the portal and the NIL money that's coming in and how crazy it is. And I do believe that it can be crazy, and it's a weird culture and a weird situation we live in. So we absolutely complain about it and talk about it. But you know what else we do? We watch it. Always watch it. I've got some buddies that I talk to, and we'll be chatting, and one of them will send me a text about something about the portal, or can you believe this kid is doing this or getting this money or whatever. And I'm like, what are you doing right now? Well, I'm watching the game. Okay. Like it goes both ways, right? We watch it, we can complain about it, but we also watch it. And that's the reason there's so much money in it. And it got me thinking about why do we watch it so much? Well, it's not just because we love the sport, whatever sport we're watching. We watch it because we love seeing these people and these young athletes become so good at something, because we know about the time and the effort and just everything they've put into it and what it takes, especially if you've played a sport and you watch them, and coached it, you can watch them and understand, wow, they've put a lot of time and effort. We're interested in where they put their time and effort, what their method is, and all these things. And it's just really cool. We just love seeing these young people grow and develop and succeed. And, when we're talking about the good and the bad of the way athletics are now, I'm a positive guy, right? So I'm going to lean into the positive, and you'll hear me talk about that on this podcast all the time. Like, I'm going to lean into the positive. I know there's problems with it, and I'm not going to ignore that, but some of those problems are like the toothpaste is out of the tube. We're not jamming it back in there. So we might as well deal with the situation that we have and then enjoy it. And that's what I want out of it. So when I talk about being a positive guy and trying to help and doing the best with the situation, my guest today is another very positive guy, just a great conversation with him. His name's Terrell Washington, and Terrell played at the U of I. So I've got a couple shows in a row where I'm gotten U of I football grads, which is fantastic. And Terrell played at U of I, went on and played a little bit for the Houston Texans. Great guy, and he now owns and operates a sports training operation he calls Grindhouse Sports Training, and he's developing athletes, and he's working on that I talk about those three skills. You need the skill set, the body, and the mindset, and he's working on that second skill set, that where they're training their bodies to get bigger, faster, stronger, more athletic, things like that. And he makes he's not, I mean, he's agreeing with the fact that what he's doing is developing these athletes to get better, to hopefully get Division I scholarships. That's his business. That's what he's working on. That's what he does. And so, but when I talk to him, there's things he does differently than a lot of the coaches I talk to, which are there to, public school teachers, public school coaches, and they have a slightly different clientele, and they're looking at things a little bit differently than what Coach Washington does. And so Coach Washington, whenever he runs his operation and he's working with these kids, like, he can do it a little bit different. He can really put them through a grind and say, this, if this is what your goals are, if this is what you're wanting, then this is what we need to put you through. And I think that one of the questions, and I've said this to the kids that I work with before, and I think that he's asking them in this way, is he wants to find out, does the effort you put into things, does the effort you apply actually match your goals? I have yet to work with a kid that didn't think they were going to get a Division I scholarship. And we know that most don't. But the question is, we need to ask a kid at some point, if that's your goal, does your effort match up to that? Are they offset? And Coach Washington, like I said, he does that. He puts his kids through these programs, and he makes sure that their effort matches their goals. And we're going to have it in this conversation. It's a great conversation. We talk about some of the speed work and the physical exertion he's putting these kids through and training their bodies. But we get into this is the Mental Mettle Podcast, so we get into the mental part too. And it's just a really cool conversation on how he's helping develop these kids into be recruitable athletes, which is a really cool conversation. And the reason I'm jumping on here, if you're a faithful listener and you were tuning in for the first episode in April because you wanted to hear what I usually do at the first of the month in 2025, and that's the monthly Mettle Challenge. If you're jumping in waiting for that, first of all, God bless you for being a listener and being like, oh, is he going to do that this month? I am going to do it. It'll be next week. The reason I'm doing this episode right now today is because Coach Washington and he runs his program down in Wiley, Texas, but he makes the rounds at other training facilities and does a free training for athletes. And he's doing that coming up at the Performance Lab in Bloomington Normal on April 11th. And it's a free training for athletes. And I'll drop some stuff in the show notes. Just after meeting Coach Washington, if you're interested in that, I would highly suggest you get there, because he's a real passionate, knowledgeable, experienced guy. And I'm excited to have him on and promote his stuff. It's really cool. It's a great conversation. So yeah, come back next week for the monthly Mettle Challenge. I guarantee it's a good one. We're going to talk about it. But for now, we're going to jump into the conversation with Coach Terrell Washington from Grindhouse Sports Training. Your athlete probably spends hours working on the specific skill set they need for their sport. And they probably spend hours in the weight room building their body. But how much time do they spend intentionally training their mind? Well, building mindset is the key to bridging the gap between the skills that we see and game execution. Well, Mental Mettle Coaching provides individual programs that can help your athlete develop this third and crucial skill set. All right, welcome back to the Mental Mettle Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Matt Thomann, and I'm here with my guest today, Terrell Washington of Grindhouse Sports Training. And I think this is going to be a fun interview, Coach. And you go by Coach T, right?
Yeah, Coach T, Coach Washington. Yeah, either or, it's all good.
So I've been called Coach T several times in my life. So we're if nothing else, we're kindred spirits here. We'll go with that.
Exactly.
So I know that one of the reasons we jumped on here is I know that you're doing some stuff at the Performance Lab in Bloomington Normal coming up, doing a
Yes.
training coming up on the 11th, and we'll definitely get into that. But I that's I'm excited to hear about that, and I think some of my listeners are going to be excited to hear about that because it's a I know a lot of people I
Yeah.
know the Performance Lab, and you're partnering with them, so I'm excited about you're being
Right.
able
It's
to
my
do
second.
that.
It's gonna be my second year. Second time coming out. So we did it last year, and we're doing it this year too. So yeah.
Yeah. So the Performance Lab, who's the guy you work with over there?
The owner of Performance Lab. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're just hanging out, and I came down there last year doing an Illinois Michigan game. So
Okay.
my buddy Chad had connected us, and we came down, and we had a man. It was like about 50, 60 some kids there. So we had a great time
Yeah.
last year. So now we get an opportunity to do it again because the kids in the community was asking for it again. So I was like, yeah, let's do that. Let's schedule it. Let's get it on the calendar, and so now I'm going to Bloomington on the 11th, April the 11th, and I'll be in Missouri on April the 12th doing the camp same next day. So yeah, and it's
Yeah. I
free.
think. I mean. Yeah. I saw that. It's
Yeah,
free, which is fantastic. I don't know. I
yeah.
don't know how you pull that off, but it's fantastic.
Lot of support, in the community, man. They really wanted me down, so we
It,
we put together a plan, and hopefully I can do this at least twice a year in Bloomington. So that's the goal.
I love. I've moved a couple places. I'm back in. I'm not a little ways out of Bloomington Normal now, about less than an hour. But that the whole Bloomington Normal Peoria area for sports and youth sports, it's people support it. It's great.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about. I want to hear about your journey. I just love talking stories and people's journey and how they get to where they are, and some of their experiences growing up playing sports. And I'm an Illini fan, so I definitely want to hear about that. My nephew just committed there, so he's going there in a couple years. So I'm pretty excited about hearing a little bit about your stuff on about the Illini. So give me a
Okay,
little bit
that
about
sounds
your
great.
your background, Coach.
So my background, so I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I went to Rittner High School, transferred to Hazelwood Central High School. I played football my whole career at both schools. I end up didn't know I was really good. Coach O at Rittner told me, hey man, you can go to college. This is my freshman year of high school. You can go to college playing football, and I was like, for real? So I went to my mom. I told my mom and dad, was like, hey, Coach O said I could go play college football. So is it okay for me to go to college? Because, I'm the first person in my family to get a degree and go off to college with a full ride scholarship. So when that all happened, my mom said, yeah, you can go to college. So went back to
It's
school, excited about it. All coach said, hey, you got to just have a C average and you're good. And so I did. I made sure I stayed above that C average, man, and had an opportunity to go play college ball. And I went to Hutchinson Community College first, starting off, not because of grades, just because ACT scores were kind of low, and I didn't know how to really navigate through the ACT world. So I went to JUCO for a couple seasons. And once I finished playing JUCO ball, I ended up back at the University of Illinois, where I really originally wanted to go to. So as a kid. So it all worked out perfectly. Um, I
where's
played ball. Yeah,
let me interrupt here for a second. So when did you graduate high school?
I graduated high school in '97.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, we're talking, it's been a few years ago. I mean, it's like when you're talking about needing help with that ACT and needing those scores and the grades, I
Hmm.
think we've come a long way from even
Yes.
1997 on helping kids do that and being prepared for that, saying, and like anymore, I don't know what you tell the kids that you work with, but I guarantee you tell them don't just shoot for a C average. I'm sure you're telling them, hey,
Right, right. No, so
you
most of
right.
most of the kids I work with, I make sure they have be above, like a B above, anything 3.0 on up. That's because we want to be safe. Like I said, if you want to go to like the prestigious schools, like Northwestern or something like that, where you got to have a 3.4, 3.5 GPA, I say we got to shoot for a higher grade than what we're looking at for as a 3.0. But this training thing I've been doing, man, I've been doing this about 20 plus years, and I've had an awesome opportunity to be able to be mentor these young men and women and guide them in the right direction. Because I say, don't be like Coach Washington. Don't just say, I'm gonna take the ACT. I'm just gonna go JUCO, because JUCO is built for certain type of people. So
Yeah.
I try to make sure I encourage them to do well. I do a great job at guiding them in the right direction. And a lot of my athletes have a lot of success behind it. So, like, I got 6 kids right now going Division 1, 2 going to Air Force, one going to Texas Tech. Man, I got another kid going to Pueblo in New Mexico, and Arkansas Tech. So it's like when I'm working with all of these different athletes, it's like you want to guide them in the right direction so they can understand that you don't want to take a step backwards. You want to just go forward. And now, if you don't have any other opportunity to go to D1, then we can revisit the JUCO or a smaller school options, for them. So, and they all listen. And I got a great fan base here, but my clientele and my parents they're awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I just anymore it's I don't want to use the word cutthroat, but it's tough getting scholarships in every little
Yeah,
if it's close between you and another kid and he's got a little bit better grades and looks like he puts more time into it, it's like
yeah,
it's a no-brainer.
yeah.
It's
Because it's all based off, okay, who you're training with. Okay, what's your high school record look like? Okay, now what's your grades look like? Okay, now if you got a kid that's just doing the bare minimum, not training, got poor grades, those kids get overlooked every time. And the
well
kids that got the
and
trainers, to kind of guide them, because that mentorship, that's what they really need. Is that mentorship to kind of help guide them through this journey, because this football journey, basketball journey, whatever it is, sports journey, just with football, just eliminating, majority of their scholarships and walk-ons now. So they're down to 85 kids now in football.
yeah.
So you are limited now. I think it was 120 at first. So we're talking about 30 kids lost scholarships, and walk-on kids that just decided they didn't want to keep them anymore. So we're looking at it's just different
It
times, especially when these kids they're going to get paid for this now. So
Well,
it's
and see, that's the thing. It's when they look at a kid and you're like, okay, this kid's got the talent, he's got all this raw potential and stuff, but he really doesn't look like he's putting much extra work in.
yeah,
Like it's a full-time job plus some for those kids.
yes, it is.
But
It's
at any
definitely
sport.
and mentality, mindset wise, a lot of them are not mentally prepared for it, and that's the hardest part. Now you got a kid that's going to school. Say you got a kid that's got good grades, and you got another kid that doesn't have good grades, but the kid that that's that doesn't have good grades is the most athletic kid. And you look at that kid and he get an opportunity. Your coach say, okay, we're going to sign you with an NIL deal of $200,000, and how that drastically changes that kid.
Yeah.
And now this kid that wasn't really smart, now he got to play catch up and try to make sure his grades are correct. Then all of a sudden, he's not performing at a high level because he's struggling with his schoolwork. So in the mindset of things, you're like, man, mentally, was he ready for that windfall of cash flow
Well,
that he just
it's
received?
really it's a big ask. It's a real big
Yes,
ask. I mean,
yes, sir.
so let's get back to our story, because I mean, you're headed back to you're moving to Illinois to play in what, or late in 2000, year 2000 or 99 or something like that. You weren't,
Yeah,
I mean,
1999. Yeah,
yeah,
1999.
you're not getting NIL deals back then.
No way. I wish. I definitely wish.
Right?
Yeah. So when I left Hutchinson Community College and came to Champaign, it was okay. I'm like, Coach, who I'm staying with. It was like I had to stay with an older guy in some hot apartment building off of Green Street somewhere. I think it was First Street I was staying off of, and we did not even have AC. So picture not having AC. It's hot
Right.
summertime, and I come to campus. So it was a struggle. It was life changing for me, because I was living in my own apartment. I mean, I still stayed in the dorms at Hutch, so I had my own apartment, so I was excited about that. But then the next, we didn't have AC, so we was like, okay, I gotta do some upgrades. So yeah, I mean,
I,
just the transition from JUCO to Illinois, it was a great transition. No NIL deals for us. We had to work, and I found me a job. I literally was working, and I was making money, getting paid hourly, and that's how I made my little extra cash that I needed to kind of get me through the summer.
I don't even know. Like, it hasn't been. We're talking 25 years. In 25 years ago, you show up. There's not only no NIL. You have to work a job, and you don't have AC. Forget NIL, right? Like
Right.
it's. I don't even know. I don't want to be the old guy here that complains about how fast things have changed, right? But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like you wonder sometimes because I mean, it's probably, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but it still was probably, you probably still loved the experience and got a lot out of that,
Yes.
having to do all those things and work really
Yes.
hard.
I enjoy getting up, going to class, getting up, going to work. I enjoy just having the balance of being able to juggle football, working, and school all at the same time. It prepped me for life, man. I'm not saying that the NIL deal is not going to help these kids and advance these young athletes in the future. I know it's beneficial. I wish I was back in this era where I was getting paid, but it embedded something in us, that when we were going through this process, how to navigate through life. I mean, you have kids now that get NIL deals and they don't even play. And they're there to play, and they're like, okay, coach told me he was going to play me. Then all of a sudden, this kid don't even get an opportunity to touch the field.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, this kid is in a portal. 75 to 80 some percent of these kids don't leave the portal, but he got $100,000 or $200,000 to sign with that university. So the coach is like, well, you can go to school with that 200,000 now, and you figure it out. But for those kids that are just jumping to the portal because they're not getting an opportunity, I'm an old school guy, so I'm like, man, let's just grind this out. Okay, I'm not going to go to your school, and I'm not looking to jump into nobody's portal. I'm looking to bust my tail and earn my position. And I
Hmm.
think those days are gone. I don't think a lot of these young athletes are gonna even willing to grind it out
I
like
know.
that.
It's a, man, I really wasn't trying to get into this conversation, but I could sit and talk about it all day because there's so many things that are, there's so many things good that are good about the portal too, right? Like in the fact about getting a kid opportunity to, because you know that sometimes kids don't shine in a certain spot and they do in another
Right.
spot, and you might have a coach that there's like a coach doesn't believe in him or it doesn't even have use for him, so they can go somewhere else and play. And like, but then it's also an easy out if instead of working hard. I just don't know. I know it's a crazy system we have right now. I know that.
Yeah. I think once they get it, I think once the big guys get it all together and structure it with the board of guys who played, and I think it's going to get a little bit better. I just think right now it's like the Wild Wild West where if
It
you want
is.
to go to so and so university, if you're a top two guy, then you get an opportunity to make $200,000 or $100,000, and you're going to play. But you got to also look at it because it's a money deal. So now the universities make billions of dollars off of kids coming
Yes.
to the
I mean,
universities and video games and all of this other stuff that they get paid for. So now all the kid is asking for is just a little piece of the pie where he doesn't have to, his parents don't have to struggle and wait for him to go to the pro
right.
level to kind of take care of him. And I see it in multiple views where it's beneficial, but also it's a curse just based off of the mindset of the athlete and the background of where they're coming from. Not saying every kid is going to, do wrong by what they get, but sometimes, you know, you need a little help to guide you through when you
Hmm.
are making 40, 50, sixty
Yeah,
thousand dollars because you don't need to be spending $60,000 while you're on
no.
campus on a full ride scholarship.
Well, no, and it's also because especially now because they give them everything. So it's
Yes.
yeah. That's just yeah. I agree. So, but eventually you finish. I mean, you have a great career at Illinois. I saw you. Are you still in the top 10 for sacks?
I'm still in the top 10 for sacks. Yep. Yeah.
That's not bad, man. That's not
Yeah.
bad. Um,
Yeah.
but you finish
25
at
years
Illinois.
later.
20, I mean, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
I don't know. Has it slipped a little bit over the years?
Yeah, so I think I originally was at the sixth or the seventh spot, and just over time, I mean, because I only played 2 seasons there. If I
Okay.
played, picture if I played 4 years at the University of Illinois. Like, I mean, I was in Juke when I was in Juke, I only played 1 year at JUCO, and then I didn't really play a lot my sophomore year at Illinois. I played like probably we had to look it up, probably 100 plays total. So when you're looking at this big picture, for me, if I would have started off at the University of Illinois, I would have been in the same
Yeah.
category as Simeon Rice and those guys, like in the
Yeah.
top five.
Yeah. But I mean, you're still good enough. You ended up to the point that you did get paid to play football.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I went to the Houston Texans. I went as an undrafted free agent to the Houston Texans back in '02 when they first started off. They were the Oilers. Wasn't the
Yeah.
Houston Oilers at first? And then they ended transitioning over to the Texans. So the first year the Texans came into play, I was on the team.
All right.
Yeah, and I,
So,
and I
I
got
mean,
allocated to Europe, so I got like a long story. Like I went into Houston, ended up going, playing really good, got released, went to Europe, got picked back up. It was just like, and then that summer I played really well, thought I was going to make the roster, got released again, and I'm like, man, this football thing is not fun anymore. And
yeah, it's well, when you
it's
can't be in a
cutthroat.
when you can't be in a single spot, you never know where you're playing, if you're playing, what you're doing. But
Yeah.
so then was it like did you go straight to start doing sports training?
So after I finished the NFL, I played like a year and some change in NFL, and then when I got released in '04, I end up going back home to St. Louis, and I got into the teaching world. So I got into education. So I worked with kids from, I want to say, like 2004 up till, 2004 up till about 2014. So about 10 years I was in the education field working with kids. I was coaching basketball. I was a basketball assistant basketball coach. I was a varsity assistant coach, and then I did weight training at the school. And when I started in the school district, I was already trained. So when I was pro, I was already training young athletes just for fun, and I was enjoying it, man. I mean, it was a rush. It was like the kids were gaining access to just knowledge that was way beneficial for just having somebody not play, to me learning the techniques and the skill set that they needed to prep them for high school. And after that year of training, I think I had 2 or 3 kids go get a scholarship offer. So I kept 5 kids on every year, and I worked with them until it got to a point where when I moved to Texas, so I got to tell you the Texas story. But all the
Yeah.
way up until like 2014, I was training 5 kids a year in St. Louis, and I was helping kids get scholarships to go off to college. And I moved to Texas, and I was working just with my son. I said, I'm not going to train. I'm not going to do anything. And my son's like, why not, Dad? I want you to train me and my friends. I said, yeah, I'm just going to focus on you. And I end up training my son. And then one day, it was like 35 kids at the school ready for me to train. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? You know, I mean, yeah, Texas and Missouri is totally different from kids that really want to work, right? So I started training those
Well, I mean,
kids.
yeah, I mean, Texas is. I mean, it's. There's nobody like Texas as far as
Yeah,
training
it's
for
not. It's
football, and
nothing.
there's
Like I
nobody.
tell
Yeah,
everybody, like if you get an opportunity, come to Texas. Just you got to look at the high schools. I mean, the high school stadiums are like college stadiums. Like it's just the mindset and how they do things. Like they say, everything's big in Texas. That is true. Like I mean, you got these crazy roundabout highways that are huge, and if you go the wrong exit, man, you end up in a whole different town, in a split second. So it's like in Texas, man, it's like family, faith, and football, man. And it's like, where can you go when it's all about sports? And if you look at, the top 10 sports, I mean, top 10 cities for sports, Texas is one of the top 10,
yeah,
just because of how big it is, but also what they have for development of youth. Like any corner, I mean, any area you can find a sports training facility. You can find a deep batting, company, that's in that community that the kids can get everything they need to be successful in. And through sports, that's what we're focusing on is. And when I started Grindhouse Sports back in St. Louis, my vision wasn't this big, but now my vision is this in a whole different level now with working with you because 2023, I sent 17 kids Division One.
Yeah.
That's a lot of kids, man.
That's a lot
I
of
mean,
kids.
not just football. It was track, it was baseball, it was football, and it was volleyball. And that's unheard of, man. Like these kids are the knowledge that I have, and they all I got to do is listen to me, and I'm gonna guide them, and I'm gonna show them how to get recruited, and the whole process. And this is the fun part about playing a sport is now you get paid now, so now it's a little bit more serious.
Yeah, when you're talking about you have that many kids go D1, how many kids are you working with in a year?
On average, each year, I always like every year I drop off all of my seniors drop off. So if I got 15 seniors or 20 seniors, my goal is to replace the seniors that just left. So any given year, I'm probably working about 120 to 150 athletes, and I try to manage that by myself. So as I'm growing now, I'm really growing. So now I'm finding coaches that can kind of help me with the processing of certain athletes that I'm working with. If I got receivers, I'm working with receivers and things like that. But
Coaches, do you dream of guiding mentally tough athletes towards a championship? Kids that are resilient and persistent and unshaken by setbacks. Well, in today's world, those athletes aren't born. They have to be developed. Many athletes face significant challenges and risk burnout. So how do we foster that mental toughness without overwhelming them? Well, introducing the Ember to Inferno program, Building Mentally Tough Athletes. This series is designed specifically for coaches, offering a deep dive into your own journey of mental toughness and equipping you with practical tools to build confidence and belief in your athletes. Rather than just simply adding more adversity to their life, we focus on creating a strong foundation for mental resilience. You'll learn how to transform a spark of motivation into a blazing fire of toughness, using techniques that address challenges like social media pressures, athletic stress, and trauma. Don't just wish for mentally tough athletes, build them. Join the Ember to Inferno program today and ignite the potential in your athletes. For more information, contact me, Coach Thomann, at Mental Mettle Coaching. Your athlete probably spends hours working on the specific skill set they need for their sport, and they probably spend hours in the weight room building their body. But how much time do they spend intentionally training their mind? Well, building mindset is the key to bridging the gap between the skills that we see and game execution. Well, Mental Mettle Coaching provides individual programs that can help your athlete develop this third and crucial skill set. So tell me, you talk about the grind, you talk about the process that you do. What's without, you don't have to spill all your secrets here, but what's the Grindhouse Sports Training process? What is that?
so the Grindhouse Sports training process is always going. First, I initiate kids and just see how bad they really want to train. So I put them through a gruesome workout. So that first workout is by far is to make a kid think, I want to go Division One. Okay, yeah. Okay, can I do this twice or three times a week? And I have the kid make a mental check note as he's working. So by the end of the training session that I'm finished, I do a lot of like different types of workouts to kind of burn kids out just so they can see what it takes to get to that next level. Because I know personally that if I wouldn't have trained this way for myself, I would have never had an opportunity to play on the Division One level either. So what I try to do, I go old school on them, and I try to make sure that they understand. I break them down from the foot all the way down to the toes, calves, quads, hamstrings, hips. Like I work them all the way up, and then I mess with them mentally because when they get tired, that's when you see a lot of kids just want to give up. So then I put them through some footwork, ladder drill, hurdles, easy stuff that I know for sure that a lot of kids can conquer. if you get taught correctly. So I add that at the end of the workout, man, and it's a mess. You see cones and hurdles everywhere, and at the end I'll say, okay, this is what it's going to look like consistently. Are you ready for something like this on a consistent basis, at least twice a week? And I say, well, I want to give you a week. Even when they come in the door and they say, I want to train with you. No, let's do this evaluation. You go home. I'll give you a week to kind of ponder on it, you and your parents, because everything with me is a commitment. So majority of my all of my clients are committed to the training. And so what I do for as pay wise, I get paid monthly per athlete for
Mhm.
training. So if they're serious about it, I want to make sure that they're serious about it. And I want to have them locked in into the program so that we can really make sure that they get what they want out of the deal, which is a scholarship.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm seeing some similarities in what you do, and I like it. There's a thing about motivation, and it's like it just has. I wish I could figure out how to manufacture motivation in like a young athlete, because it really we can accomplish so many good things
Mhm.
physically, mentally, skill set wise if they've got the motivation.
Correct.
But if they don't have the motivation, it's really difficult.
But I want to know if they have the motivation. You
I
know,
know, and that's what I'm
that's
saying.
the
So
cool
that's
thing
why
about it.
I know,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying, because I'm doing the same thing. It's a lot of times I sit down to work with a parent and a kid, and I've had a parent tell me before, they're like, "Hey, I want you to work with my kid. He needs some skills mentally to do some stuff." And I'm like, "Look, I can't push a rope. Like
Right.
if you don't like if you if this kid is going to sit on the other line with me and ignore everything I say and not listen and doesn't want to do it, I don't have a magic wand."
Right. Yeah.
And it's
I
the
mean,
same way with you.
yeah, but the cool thing about what I think when you're looking at your athletes and you're doing your evaluations and trying to guide them in the right direction, with me, it's either they're gonna know if they can handle this or they're not, and that's the cool thing about what I do because. I want clients. I trust me. I want about 250 to
I
300
got you.
clients. I really do, but I know personally, mentally, that a lot of these kids are not equipped to the grueling, the grinding every single time they see me, and because it's hard. Like yesterday, for each hurdle they hit, I added one extra lap onto the end of our workout. Right, so it's one extra lap, one extra up down, one extra push up. So at the end, I think it was nine or so hurdles that hit that just fell over. So it's about 13 to 15 kids at that session. At the end, I say, let's get on the line. So we did 3 rounds of 19 sprints back and forth. We did 19 push-ups. We did 19 burpees.
Yeah.
And they were like at first they were all giddy and excited and laughing and having a good time, and then when that was over with you can hear a pin drop. That's how
Oh
how
yeah.
quiet it was.
Oh
And
yeah.
it wasn't for punishment, it was just like I told you before. These are the basic skill sets you're going to need to be successful in sports. If you don't get your legs up, just say you're an offensive lineman and you don't kick back, or you're just standing in mud and another kid roll up your ankle or your knee and you
Yeah.
injured. So what I try to do, I try to prep my athletes for whatever they're going to see in the future, so that they won't be tired. Everyone else around them will be tired, but
Yeah.
they will not be tired. They will be strong. They will be able to push through. It's like this is nothing, compared
Yeah.
to what I see at Grindhouse Sports.
Yeah, and it's interesting as you're talking about that. I'm thinking about the fact that I work with some kids, and for me I need a kid to say, yes, I need to be a little bit more tough, and I need the mental skills, because I've worked with kids before that say, I know I need to work harder, and I need you to help me do that and learn how to do that, because I know I work with some kids that I know that they would have gone through your first workout and be like, I'm not doing that, right?
Yeah.
And right, and but then there's those kids that realize, I know that's an issue. Like, I know I don't have it. So when I'm saying that, when I'm talking about the motivation I'm looking for, all I need is a kid that says, to recognize it and say, look, I know
Yes.
I'm not as mentally tough as I need to be. Can you help me do that? Um,
Yes.
yeah,
And that's cool when you
which
see when you recognize it. I think like I was when I talked to Chat yesterday, I'm thinking in my head like, man, we can partner up on some stuff in the future because these are some of the things these young athletes need. I don't care what sport you play, they need this mental toughness. They need to
yeah.
understand it's okay to feel a certain way, but just don't give up. Like, I mean, because if you don't give up on this and this is the hardest part of your life, trust your future is bright as heck. You just don't know it yet.
Oh man, I tell people all the time, I'm like, it sports is this phenomenal metaphor for life, right?
Right.
And if you can learn, but the problem is it can go both ways, right? If you are in a really tough athletic situation, you can learn how to deal with those difficult situations, overcome them, and gain those tools to face that adversity, and then you are set for life.
That's right.
But if you see that, if you have a kid that doesn't own up to that and doesn't have those tools to overcome that and end up quitting or not doing well, it's the opposite, right?
Yeah.
They've taken something and they're like, you start looking for ways to get out of stuff. And it's like,
Hmm.
I guess one of the problems I have is the old school idea of a kid's either going to make it or not. Oh well, they're either going to make it or not. And I'm like, no, we can start giving them tools.
Yeah.
We can start giving
We
them
right
mental
now in this time
tools.
in this day and time, we have the tools to provide for them.
I
You know,
know.
and they
That
did that.
wasn't.
We didn't have this.
That's what I'm saying. You and I'm older than you by a little bit, but we didn't have that.
No, we didn't have personal trainers. We didn't have conditioning and strength trainers. We didn't have mental health or mental, whatever it may be for these young athletes because it could be a home life that's messing up a kid mental status when he get to school. He just done. Like it just man, if this is what life is going to give me, then I'm just I don't know if I can make it. Or you got other kids on the other hand, like if this is what life is going to be like, I want a better life, so I'm gonna bust my butt for it.
Right?
So, how do we help them navigate through this process? Is through the help that the skill set that we have, and provide that for our youth, so that they don't have to really figure out about navigation of things. They're still going to go through, but now they got a better resource to kind of tap into to help them navigate through these processes that they're going through, or the
Yeah,
issues or
it's.
situations.
I have no doubt the kids, whether or not they get the scholarship after they work with you or not, if they've, I can tell you right now that if they've gone through the stuff that you are putting them through and they do it, like I have no doubts that they're going to be good employees. They're going to be good parents. They're going to be good spouses. Just like, I mean, not always, but you know what I mean? Like they
Majority,
get,
yeah. Honestly, I've been doing this 20 years, man. I think I had one kid go to jail. Like out of all the
that's,
kids I've done,
I mean,
that's a great percentage. And
that's pretty
the
good.
kid that went to jail called me and apologized.
Right?
So
I mean, that's,
that's a cool thing. And he's trying to be a better man for his family. And I think, kids are gonna make mistakes. I mean, we all make
for
mistakes.
sure.
So when you're looking at that process, they're gonna make mistakes. Well, we pray that they don't coach sorry
You're good.
critical things that happens in their life. That mistake is just a mistake, so we have to forgive them for the mistakes that they make, but at the same time be there when they need us. Be there when they need us, meaning that because he went to jail, I don't look upon him as as a criminal.
Nah.
I look at him as you made a mistake and hopefully you don't make the same mistake again. And it's
Yeah,
not to judge. We're not here to judge anyone. We're here to help them navigate through this process.
I agree.
I agree.
I I get all kinds of. We talk about judgment, that we could go down a whole other route, but it's a weird interest. It's a weird metric that you mentioned that you only had one kid go to jail, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you're not putting that up on your flyers. Only one kid's
No,
gone to
no
jail.
way.
But what sort of, but when you're talking about the sort of training you do, metrics, I'm curious what kind of metrics you do track, what sort of metrics you track, and how you do celebrate it, because I know that that's a huge part in growth.
Yes. So how I track so the cool thing about what I do, I track it off of the kids, like my older kids, right? So if my older kids are coming to training, happily coming to training, and coming early enough to help me with my younger athletes, you know I'm doing something right because my older athletes are
Yeah.
now coming to work with my younger athletes to help them and say, "Hey, Coach Washington, we got to do what you did to us to them. So we're going to make sure we are here to help you process and let them know what the grind really feels like. But it's rewarding at the end because, like right now, I got a kid. He just went to Texas State. He's only a junior. He went to Texas State, UNT, TCU, and they're looking at offering him a scholarship. So the cool thing about it is this kid is coming to training and he's around these younger athletes. So the metric is look at this kid who started just like you and didn't know he had an opportunity. He ended up making all district this past season, 12 sacks. He plays defensive end. And he called me when he come to the facility, he called me dad. He said, "I love you." I said, "I love you back, son." And it's like the mentorship is more important to me on my end because I want to let the kids know that I love them, right? That's the overall goal. Because sometimes kids get "I love you" at home, sometimes they don't. We don't
Yeah.
know. But just to make the kids feel special and let them know they can conquer anything, and for them to come to training early enough so they can work with the younger kids, man, that's all I really need because the proof is in the pudding. Most of these kids go. 98% of my kids go to college.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's why they're doing it, right? So
Yes.
it's part of their goal, but that's kind of what you're aiming for. What sort of, like, when you do your sports training, are we talking like strength training, speed? What all you're working on?
So I kind of cover majority of everything. So just say you're a kid that has no ability, no running skills, no lateral movement skills or anything like that. So what I do, I help develop that portion where do the movements that's in every single sport. So I do a universal training, they call it UAP, Universal Athletic Training position. So I try to teach my athletes how to move their bodies. Once I teach my athletes how to move their body, I then work on the footwork. So I try to help increase their foot speed, then their running technique, and then their mobility, meaning like the hip mobility. Because a lot of kids are stiff in the hips and they don't
Yeah.
understand how to get out of that straight lateral movement with the turning of their hips. So what I do, I implement a lot of drills that I know and I've been doing over the years to help them with that mobility and help them being able to get in and out of cuts and turn and move around, pivot on the balls of their feet, things like that I've been working on for 20 plus years when everybody else was working on just the technique. This is a receiver, this is your route, this is what you do. I start to look at that as okay, well, I'm only going to be able to coach receivers or I'm only going to be able to coach defensive ends.
Right.
So what I ended up doing was creating a program that's beneficial for all athletes, baseball, soccer, lacrosse, whatever. And I'm able to develop those young athletes in a way where it's increasing their speed. Like I got a tennis player right now I'm training, and he came back yesterday. He was dead like he was gone for like a month. He came back. He smiled. You see this big smile on his face. I said, "You ready for the grind?" He said, "Yes, sir. I'm ready for the grind." And when he told me, I said, "So how's tennis going?" He said, "Coach, I'm all over the court. I'm all over the tennis court. I'm everywhere, all at one time." He said, "I never moved this fast in my life," and that touched me because it's like it doesn't matter what sport you play. I'm teaching you how to move your body. Now all you got to do is add a lacrosse stick or tennis,
Right.
racket in your hand, and it's all the same subtle movements.
And that the way you told that story about the tennis player kind of led into the next question that I had written here is I want to figure out what you know or what you notice about how changing in the physical body affects their mindset and maybe even vice versa. Those
Yes,
things that we want. Like, what do you like? Because you just
confidence,
showed me
man. I
one.
mean,
It's crazy, right?
it's so crazy. So when I'm working with young athletes, right? So I tell every parent this is like our in Grindhouse in-house secret. I say once you start seeing that T-shirt, fly off the body of that young athlete, that confidence is off the roof, you know. So I'll get majority of my athletes that come in, their head is hanging down. They like, man, this is hard. I can't get it. And then 2 months later, man, you see their shirt coming off. They smiling. They showing other kids how to do the drills. It's like a family based business that it's on steroids because everybody want to be great, which is great. And the parents, like, I usually don't have parents sitting in my facility, but now I'm like, y'all go ahead and grab a seat. And they sit down and
It's
literally, like, I have like all the seats are full, even like on my weight area, they're sitting down over there just watching training and they're enjoying it because the kids are having so much fun. It's brutal, but at the same time, they're having fun. They're conquering things that they didn't think they would be able to achieve. And it's on my end. I walk out of there like, yeah, it was a good work day today.
yeah,
And I say, see you guys in a couple days, and that's it. And the confidence of the kid, like I tell you this, when you see that kid confidence shoots through the roof, you know that this kid is going to be something special. And that's what it's about for me, is to identify those young athletes who really want to become great and help them become great, be the best
yeah,
athlete that they can be. Now say they may go to school and they may get, adversity. Like we talk about adversity in sports, right? They may go to school and the coach may say, hey, I want you on B team. That
yep,
kid is like, okay, I don't mind playing B team, but I'm gonna be the best B team player out there. And
yeah.
that's what it's not a letdown. It's just, okay, I need to work a little harder, right?
Well,
So
that's the
now
thing
as the
because they
kids,
know that
yeah,
you showed them that getting something takes a little bit of work first.
yes.
And right, oh, I okay, so I'm not A team. Okay, that means I just have to I gotta grind. I gotta
There you
grind. So
go.
what?
There you go.
I
I
know.
gotta work harder.
But it's just learning that, and it's once you learn that, it's like, all right, I failed. Okay, no big deal. I just got to work harder. It's.
Yes.
I know it sounds so simple, Coach, but it's a mindset that has to be developed a little bit.
Correct.
Um,
And it starts with us though. It starts with
yeah,
you and I because of the
W-
things that we're doing. We're prepping them for. We're not saying, hey, because you trained with me today and tomorrow or half of the year that you're gonna go into a season. We call it. You got to take baby steps through this process. Like these things
yes,
are. You got to learn over time. You're not going to know everything. The 46 years that I've been living, you got to live another, 20 years, some years to grasp what I'm trying to teach you. But it's not a video game. It's real life. And I think what you're doing, because I listened to your first episode, and it touched me because when I was listening to it, I'm like, man, we're speaking the same language.
hmm
We both were faced with adversity. Like
yeah,
the reason why Grindhouse exists is because I lost my son.
mm,
You know what I mean? So I lost my son where I had to go through my darkest moments to shape me from who I am right now
yeah.
for other people kids.
It's I know when things like that happen, you've got two options. You can just sink into it and act like
Yes.
it's the worst thing, or you can be like, how can I take this as something that happened to me and turn it to something that happened for me?
Yes.
And that's it's hard. It's hard.
Yes, it is.
It's real hard, and I feel for you, man. But but when you finally get somewhere and you've taken something that's happened to you and turned it into something for you, and then you're, especially when you're doing something where you're helping others, man,
Yes.
it's the
I felt like this
best.
was my calling, though. To be honest, when I was an educator, so I knew I wanted to work with kids. So when I played at the University of Illinois, we had played in the Sugar Bowl, and Coach Greg McMahon was our special team coach at Illinois, and we had went to Shriners Hospital. And when I went to Shriners Hospital, I was
Mm,
like, I know what I wanted. It's like I walked into Shriners Hospital, I sat down, I read a book to some kids. I was so excited about reading the book to the kids. I'm like, Coach Matt, I know exactly what I want to do for my life. I know I want to work with kids. I know I want to work with kids. And I'm 21, 22 years old. And for me to identify what I wanted to do with my life and I wanted to give back to the youth, I'm like, man, this is awesome. And just identifying that, being able to do it now as an adult and guide young athletes to the right direction instead of having them make poor decisions, going to jail, and or robbing or killing people. Like, man, I was able to do something special where I'm able to speak life into them when others may not be speaking life to them. No, I mean, adversity happens to us all,
Mm.
but when
Yes.
they're getting hit over the head with whatever they're getting hit over the head with, regardless of what's going on at home, this is your 50 to hour. You get 50 minutes to an hour to better yourself right here. Why not?
Yeah. I like get. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. So we're running slow on time. We're running short on time here, Coach. Tell me a little bit what people can expect at this training you're doing in Bloomington Normal at Performance Lab on the 11th. Like, what's that going
Okay,
to be
cool.
like?
Yeah, so I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of taste of what I do here in Texas. We're gonna have a little fun drills, we're gonna have this competition. I don't want to leak too much,
I
but
got you. I got you.
the kids that came last year, it's gonna be similar, but with a twist. It's gonna be
All
a
right.
twist with it. I'm gonna add a lot more movement with it, but also we're gonna do a lot of footwork too as well. So my goal is to teach kids how to utilize their lower level and swinging their arms. So that's what I
Okay.
love doing. I love showing them how to move and navigate through tight spaces. So everything that I did prior in the Bloomington camp, if you didn't make it, make sure you make it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be exciting. We got some free goodies too for you guys.
All right.
Man, like last year I gave hats and t-shirts. This year I'm going to give some more free goodies to you guys where it's going to be beneficial. Hopefully your parents are there to take a video so they can take some notes so you can see what you need to improve
Yeah.
on. But the
Well,
cool
that's the
thing
thing.
about it,
It's a 1 day training. It's not going to make an athlete, but you're picking up tools.
yeah, you picking up tools. I mean,
Yeah.
when when you were younger, you used to go to camps, right? Did you go to any
Yeah.
camps?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So when I used to go to camps, I used to take those camps as a learning curve for me and seeing, but it's like an evaluation. What do I need to work on to become a better athlete? And when I think I went to the Illinois camp, I think I did a 4 day camp at Illinois. And when I was there, I came back home. I think I had got an offer, a scholarship or something like that by Luke Tepper was the coach at the time. I think I
Okay.
had an
Yeah. Yeah.
offer. And when I came back home, I started to work on those skill sets that they had told me to
Yes.
work on when I got
Yeah.
home. And that's perfect. That's why I'm doing these free camps to tell a kid, hey, this is what you need to be focusing on. You need to work on your hip mobility. You need to be working on your quick feet. You need to be working on your running technique. And these are the techniques that you will learn over time, but you don't want to learn them when you become a sophomore or junior. You want to learn them while you're young.
I
So when
got
you
you.
do become a high school player, that you stand a part of all those other athletes that are out there.
Beautiful. Beautiful. It sounds fantastic, Coach. I hope you get a great turnout. I don't know. I might have to see if I just swing over and say
Be
hi
great.
and we'll
It would be
see if we can
great. I
do that.
mean, I think right now, I think we got like 60. Like we did RSVP this
Oh,
year,
great.
so we got about 60 athletes already signed up. I want to do 100 athletes, so we should have some spots available. I haven't checked my database yet to kind of know how many athletes we have right now to this day. But I'm telling you, like last minute, a lot of last minute kids come in,
Yeah. Yeah.
they
Yeah.
want to train. But like I said, my goal is to do this twice a year. So hopefully we can set up some for the next, 3 or 4 months from now, and I'll be back up to Bloomington to do it again.
Fantastic. Any
Yes, sir.
final words of wisdom for us, Coach?
And if you're looking to become an athlete, or if you want to become a better athlete, remember athletes are never born overnight. Athletes are
No.
always born over time, and if you can continue to work your tail off and dedicate yourself to something that you love, it's never going to be a question of how great you're going to be.
Yeah. I talk to kids all the time about that. Like it's great. I know that you say you want a Division I scholarship. I know you want to go to the NBA and the NFL, but that's probably not our focus today. Our focus
Right.
is our focus is getting a little bit
Yeah.
better because
Today,
that
they're focused
today
1% better.
today
1%
today
better. That's it.
our
Yes.
goal is to get better today, not to worry about that scholarship. It's
Yes.
you do it a little bit at a time. So,
And
Coach, it's
I
been
will tell
yeah.
kids to write out your goals and make them clear. Write out your
Yeah,
goals and make them clear. That's really
absolutely.
important for young athletes, because if they can see their goals all happening, now it's obtainable goals that they can work on to become that person that they want to be in the future.
I agree.
Excellent.
Fantastic, Coach. Been a great conversation. I sure
Yes.
can't thank you enough for coming on. It's been great. I wish you continued success, but I don't think that's
Appreciate-
going to be a problem. I like I love the stuff you're doing, Coach.
I really appreciate you. Thanks for having me on your show.
You bet. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Parents, is your athlete ready for the upcoming sports season? They might have the strength, the speed, and the skills, but without confidence, they could still struggle when the game is online. Skill and strength are great, they're necessary, but they're not used to their full potential without the right mentality. Confidence is key. It's the key to unlocking that full potential. And at Mental Mettle Coaching, I offer personalized sessions designed to build the confidence your athlete needs for a successful season. My proven techniques empower them to perform under pressure, both on the field and in life. Don't let a lack of confidence hold them back. Book a free session today and discover the power of confidence. Visit the website, get started on the journey to a more confident, successful athlete with Mental Mettle Coaching.
One of my favorite things to talk about, and if you follow this podcast at all, if you follow Mental Mettle Coaching at all, you know I talk about it all the time, is if you need to be elite in something, if you want to be really good at something, maybe not even elite, if you just want to be successful at something, there are 3 skill sets that you have to have. One, you have to have the skill set in your sport, just that specific skill set. Be able to jump, shoot, kick, pass, that specific thing that makes that sport that sport. You have to have that skill set. The second thing is that you have to have physical skills. Bigger, faster, quicker, stronger, all these things. Those make the game easier. And then the third skill set is the mental skills. You have to have that confidence. You have to have that focus. You have to have that resilience. When you can put all 3 of those things together, that's how you develop an elite athlete. Now, different athletes can have different levels of each, right? Some have a little less physical skills, so maybe they have a little bit more mental skills, or maybe they're lacking a little bit in 2, so their specific skills have to go up. I mean, it's not like they all have to be the top, but if you're lacking in one, another one has to make it up. But I love that idea, and I love talking to Coach Washington about that, because he understands that you've got to have those things, and he's working definitely on that second skill set, that the physical abilities. But when he talks about helping kids get recruited, he absolutely understands that third skill set is part of it. Now, the interesting story about that is when I'm talking about how sports have changed. So when I was growing up, for the most part, it was the only thing we did was the specific skill set for that sport. You wanted to get better at basketball, you worked on basketball. You want to get better at baseball, you got better at baseball. There was a little bit of strength training and speed work, but not a lot. For football, sure, but the other sports, I mean, I grew up in an era playing basketball, and basketball players really didn't lift it not much anyway. It was starting to become part of it, but you didn't do it much. And that has obviously changed. So we've gone from the idea of you have to be very intentional about your specific skills, and now we have to be very intentional about our strength skills. And I think we do those, but we don't really focus on the third skill set intentionally. We do it unintentionally. And that can happen, right? So Coach Washington's talking about in that episode about how when you start developing that second skill set and the kid gets faster, he was talking about the tennis player getting faster on the court. Well, his confidence shoots through the roof. And that sort of cycle is, when you see it in a kid, is fantastic, because they gain some specific skills. They gain some speed skills and some strength skills, and suddenly they perform better because of those. And then they start to develop that confidence. And then when you have more confidence, you're more likely to try new things and put more effort into working on the other two skill sets. So it's like that that mental skill, developing it gets in this cycle. And it's when we see that upward cycle in an athlete and they get rolling, that's awesome to see. But what I love to see is whenever somebody's intentionally working on that third skill set and not just wanting it to happen and just assuming it will happen. So, because honestly, you need a little bit of those skills, those mental skills to even start that process. And even when you're in the process and you're rolling, like failures happen and you need some specific skills to be able to re-engage in that cycle. And I love the idea of Coach Washington's recognizing that, wanting to build that and making sure his athletes, all of them, have it. He's definitely, again, focused on the second skills, but I love the idea of doing the third skill set intentionally. And that's something, that's what I'm all about, but I love that he's well aware of how important that is, so much so that I'm excited about the idea that he mentioned maybe we do something together, which I think is so cool. Being intentionally, like sports have changed. You can like it, you can dislike it, but it's not going anywhere. And if you want to be successful at sports, even if it's not a Division I, if you want to be successful at your sport, even at the high school level, you have to put some time in those three areas. You have to get better at your specific skills. You have to put in and do some strength training, some speed training. High schools are doing a lot of it, but if you don't want to do more than that, that's why you have a guy like Coach Washington, because you need a little bit more than everybody else. You need that edge and do a little bit better than others, and that's what it is. So it's like, again, that idea of the more that you want, if you want to be head and shoulders above everybody else, if you want to get that scholarship, you can have that goal if you want. It's a fantastic goal. You should have it. But you have to put effort that matches that goal in those three skill sets. You need to be doing those things. And the more that you're working on those, the better chances you have of reaching those goals. But they've got to match. They've got to match. You've got to be putting the time and effort into those. So hopefully you enjoyed that episode. Man, if you have the opportunity and you're hearing this in time, get over there for that training. Get your athlete over there for training. I'm thinking it's going to be really good because, again, just when you hear Coach Washington speak, you can hear the passion, you can hear the experience in his voice, and just in that conversation, you can tell he's doing things for the right reasons. And we need positive people like that in our sports now, because it is crazy. It is. So I like people that are very positive about that and doing that. He's my kind of guy. Really excited about it. Great episode. And just, yeah, it's good to meet these people and start to build relationships with them and hopefully continue to help athletes, because that's what I'm here for. That's what he's there for. And it's fantastic. So thank you so much for listening. I can't thank you enough for liking, sharing, subscribing. I'm starting to see a lot of growth in the podcast, and that really excites me because I'm all about trying to help others and everybody understand the importance of that mental aspect and that mental health in sports, because it is a crazy world out there in our sports world, and the kids and the coaches, they need some help on how to deal with this stuff and grow in this area and then apply that to life beyond sports. And I'm excited about that. And you guys can help me do that by listening, sharing, liking, subscribing, all those things. I'll be back next week with my monthly medal challenge. It's a good one. I'm already doing it, but I'm not going to get the spill the beans. You'll have to come in next week and have a listen. So that's it for now. I'm your host, Coach Matt Thomann. This has been the Mental Mettle Podcast. And always remember to forge your mettle. Thanks for listening to the Mental Mettle Podcast. Don't forget to tune in every week for more insights and strategies to help you forge mental toughness and resilience. This podcast is brought to you by Mental Mettle Coaching, where we are driven by a passion for sharing knowledge and experience that empowers others to play, live, and grow with confidence. Our mission is to instill a resilient and spirited mindset in our clients, enabling them to confidently face adversity
and actively seek new challenges for personal growth. At Mental Mettle Coaching, we offer individual coaching, group coaching, and professional development for schools and businesses. Whether you're an athlete, educator, or professional, we're here to help you unlock your potential and thrive in every area of life. Until next time, keep growing, stay resilient, and always remember to forge your mettle.